We hear lies every day, whether it's a small fib like sorry, my phone died, or a more significant claim such as I love you. The truth is often not as straightforward as it seems. On average, people are exposed to anywhere from 10 to 200 lies per day. Throughout history, humans have attempted to develop methods to detect lies, from medieval torture techniques to modern-day polygraphs and brain scanners. However, these tools, while occasionally effective, can be easily tricked, and none are reliable enough to be used in court. But what if the problem isn't with the detection tools themselves, but with the way we assume lying affects our bodies? What if we could get to the truth by looking at the lies themselves and analyzing the language used? Lying is a complex behavior, deeply tied to human psychology. At its core, lying allows us to present a version of ourselves that aligns with the person we wish to be, rather than the person we are. Our brain's creative processes help fabricate these stories, but they often leak telltale signs of deception. What's fascinating is that while we may consciously craft lies, much of our communication is influenced by subconscious processes. Our conscious mind controls only about 5% of our cognitive functions, including communication. The remaining 95% occurs outside our awareness, meaning that much of our behavior, including how we lie, happens beneath the surface. According to studies on reality monitoring, stories based on real events differ from imagined ones in measurable ways. This suggests that when we create a lie, the cognitive load is different, and it affects how we communicate. This is where linguistic text analysis comes into play. By examining language patterns, we can uncover subtle clues that indicate deception. Linguistic text analysis has identified several patterns in the language of deception. These patterns reflect subconscious behaviors that can reveal when someone is lying. Liars tend to talk less about themselves. They focus more on others or remove themselves entirely from the narrative. For example, consider these two statements. Absolutely no party took place at this house. I didn't host a party here. The first statement distances the speaker from the situation by avoiding the use of the personal pronoun I. This can make the claim seem more detached and less credible. When people lie, they often feel guilty on a subconscious level. As a result, their language tends to be more negative. For instance, someone might say, sorry, my stupid phone battery died, or I hate that thing. This negative language can be an indicator of underlying discomfort. Liars often give simple, straightforward explanations because creating a complex lie requires mental effort. Simple statements are easier to manage and less likely to contradict themselves. A famous example of this comes from Bill Clinton's famous denial, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, which was brief, simple, and evasive. While liars simplify the content of their stories, they often add unnecessary details or use more complex sentence structures to make the lie appear more convincing. For example, a statement like, I can say, categorically, that this investigation indicates that no one on the White House staff, no one in this administration presently employed was involved in this very bizarre incident, is long-winded and unnecessarily complicated, adding irrelevant details to distract from the core issue. To illustrate how these patterns show up in real-life situations, let's examine two high-profile examples of deception. The famous cyclist and 7-time Tour de France winner, Lance Armstrong, repeatedly denied using performance-enhancing drugs. In a 2005 interview, he used fewer personal pronouns and described a hypothetical situation to distance himself from the accusation. He said, okay, a guy in a Parisian laboratory opens up your sample. In contrast, during his 2013 interview, when Armstrong admitted to doping, his language shifted significantly. He used personal pronouns and shared more about his emotional experience. I lost myself in all of that. I was used to controlling everything in my life. This change in how Armstrong talked about himself is a clear indicator of a shift from denial to acceptance. Former U.S. Senator John Edwards faced scandal regarding an affair and the paternity of a child. In his initial denial, he said, I only know that the apparent father has said publicly that he is the father of the baby. Notice how he avoids naming the individuals involved, using vague terms like that baby and the apparent father, which creates distance and detachment from the truth. When Edwards later admitted to fathering the child, he took full responsibility with a much more direct statement. I am Quinn's father. I will do everything in my power to provide her with the love and support she deserves. This statement is straightforward, with no unnecessary distance or evasion. While we may not be dealing with political figures or world-famous athletes daily, the ability to spot lies in everyday situations can be incredibly useful. From evaluating a business deal to navigating personal relationships, being able to detect deception can help you make more informed decisions. Here are some practical tips for spotting lies in your own life. If someone is lying, they may avoid using personal pronouns like I or me. A liar might use negative terms as they subconsciously try to deflect guilt. If a story seems too simple or overly vague, it could be an indication that the person is hiding something. Long-winded, complex sentences with unnecessary details might be a sign of someone trying to cover up a lie. While it's important to remember that not all lies are harmful or serious, being aware of these linguistic clues can help you avoid falling for lies that could have negative consequences, whether you're deciding on an investment, evaluating a new product, or understanding the true motivations of those around you. By recognizing these signs, you can protect yourself from deception and make more informed choices in both your personal and professional life.